Greetings one and all from the White Mountains of Arizona. It's time for another spiritual walk and chat. Usually we'd have sweeping vistas and views, but we are in a storm right now.
Watch out for rabbits.
Oh no. We're in a storm right now, so we have gone to the more quiet part of the property where there's less wind. We're in a gulch. We don't have a name for this gulch. I just been calling it the Bloody Gulch because it sounds cool. But we need a name for it, don't we? Yeah. So we just channeled a mountain lion, and it was fascinating.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So it was you should watch the video. Obviously, we talked to a fifth dimensional Lyran, both the ego and the higher self. And what was your takeaway from this channeling today? What did you think about it? Show us your face.
Kind of like how James said at the very end of the video. But not everything has to be so serious all the time when we're channeling certain entities. Some entities have literally a sense of humor.
Right. This entity had jokes.
Yeah. So I really appreciated it. I thought it was nice and lighthearted. The energy was fun. I thought it was kind of funny that a Lyran decided to be a literal cat.
Yeah. My main question for you is, what did you think about what she had to say about our ways of tracking time and existing in 3D?
Definitely have to work on better communication because we see time differently, I suppose, both of us.
Right. I'm just confused. Like, we're in 3D, we have this 3D life we have to live, but Tara's off in La La Land. How do you survive?
That's what I have for you for.
Well, you made it a lot of years without me, so I'm just curious.
I don't know. I'm like Mr. Magoo.
Yeah. Okay, so that was a cool channeling. It's a nice departure from all these lower vibrations we've been tapping into, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Tara definitely feels better when we tap into a higher vibe. How'd you feel after that one?
I feel good. You know, like my energy is like upbeat and stuff like that. I mean, sometimes like when it's like really dark or whatever it is, it just takes a lot more out of me, and I feel kind of like afterwards I'm like out of breath, and but now I've got all this energy.
Nice. Well,
that's kind of what happens.
Speaking of hangovers, Tara and I were in bed this morning without hangovers because we didn't overdo. So today's New Year's Day, just so you know, and we were just talking about. Well, I was talking about, she was listening, but how low of a vibration New Year's Eve is. Whoa, look at that thing, just floating in the wind. I don't know if I caught it on camera. It's a low vibration, in my opinion. I think this is a cabal holiday. I think they created this holiday and the way we celebrate it in order to lower the vibration of the entire planet. Because think about it, what do? You go, you get blacked out drunk, right? You allow these lower archons to infiltrate, and then you start off the new year with a demonic possession sometimes, for those who really overdo it. And so that's the whole idea of this holiday, is to drink yourself into submission so that you can allow negative things in. It's horrible. Then the way the Chinese do it, they're literally worshiping a lizard, a dragon, showering it with money. That's a dark ritual. That's a reptilian ritual. So we were just looking at the way that we celebrate all these holidays. St. Patrick's Day, Cinco de Mayo, where it's just Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, like with all the holidays, it feels kind of like so commercialized. You need to buy, you need to give more of your energy, whether it's in the form of money or, you know, giving it away in terms of alcohol or sweets or whatever it may be, you know, where you spend in 3D, they want you to spend your whole time giving your energy away at a job, you know, and then now when you have party time, give your energy away some more in the terms of the money that you just got from the job that took your energy.
Or give away your soul by drinking alcohol.
So,
but like
all of this, instead of in certain other cultures and more nature-based cultures and religions and beliefs, where it's let's appreciate all that we already have, let's celebrate that, Let's celebrate our being in harmony with things instead of, oh, this is my one time I get to let loose because I'm not allowed. My masters don't allow me to let loose any other time.
The one time you communicate with your family. And what are we celebrating on New Year's Eve? The rollover of the Gregorian calendar, the calendar that's designed solely to tell you when you're a slave and when you have 2 days off each week. That's what we're celebrating. It's reptilian. There's no other way around it. It's the control. It's the matrix.
And I was talking about this with some friends, about some ancient cultures having 2 calendars. Me, I'm more, I have more knowledge of the Mayans because I'm a Mayan astrologer, but Mayans had their Gregorian calendar and they had their Tolkien calendar, which was a spiritual calendar. And they said that in order to have balance in this lifetime, you had to have your 3D self, but then the spiritual self, which was the point was to work on ascending, expanding consciousness. And those spiritual calendars seem to have disappeared. And yes, there are still some lunar calendars, but it's been commercialized. The spirituality has been taken out of it. So it's still a Gregorian calendar.
Yeah, just as they've done with everything, they've took something pure, they've inverted it, and then they present it to us as if it's pure. And then we just buy it up because we have no intuition. As a collective, we have no intuition. That's a hyperbole, obviously. Some of us have intuition, obviously. But as a whole, as a collective, we can't see through this manipulation. Like Tara was like all excited to communicate with her family on New Year's Eve. And they had a huge group text and everyone was talking. And I'm like, why is that one day a year? Why isn't that whenever you feel like it? Why do you have to wait for New Year's Eve to talk to your extended family?
And it feels like that's the only time they feel like, oh, I can let my guard down, I can have some fun.
Because they're drinking.
Express my emotions, I can drink, I can do whatever. And so then they open up, but they're using a different substance to open up, but only because they were told they're allowed to do it that one day.
Right. What kind of society is it where you only feel comfortable speaking with your family and being open with them when you've had alcohol in your system? We're not taught as kids how to express ourselves, how to share how we feel, how to, show love to those we love. We're not taught that as a society, as a collective, not as individuals, obviously. There are some individuals. What was the other thing we're going to talk about?
Well, kind of where this weather came from.
Oh, that's right.
As we walk through this crappy weather.
Yeah, so being out in the wilderness here, there's no planes, there's no airports, there's no air traffic. But for the past 3 weeks, would you say?
Yeah.
Non-stop planes. Almost every single one of them spraying whatever it is they're spraying. We know it's heavy metals, but the collective doesn't know yet.
Gritting in the sky.
Just gritting. And then all of a sudden, the East Coast has a major storm that Biden knows all about well ahead of time. And so we noticed that they were, in our area, they were trying to block out the sun. They're doing their best. They're spraying all day, all night, just trying to block out the sun, trying to make the holiday season gloomy. They didn't want us raising our vibration on Christmas, celebrating it in good weather with our family. They wanted us indoors, huddled up, stay home,
Depressed, drink.
Right, drink. That's what they wanted from us around here. But the sun and the winds here are too strong. It blew them away. And then we're like, oh, so nice weather again. Then we look on the internet, and the internet weather for our area is telling us it's going to be gloomy. It's going to be dark. It's going to be wet. It's going to snow when it's 45 degrees. And we're like, they're not reporting the weather. They're trying to use our manifestation abilities to create the weather that they failed to create. Mm-hmm. They failed here because of the elements. So they're like, okay, we'll use the internet to make them manifest what we want them to manifest.
Yeah, because everybody always looks up the weather, whether they're watching the news or they look it up on the internet, like, oh, what's the weather going to be tomorrow? And if they tell you the weather is going to be crap tomorrow, then you're like, oh man, the weather is going to be crap. Us being the manifestors that we are going to make crap weather. And then we think it's them that knew that there was going to be crap weather when it was us that helped them to create it.
Right. If you watch the news, you remember going into this winter, Biden said it's going to be cold, or maybe it was last winter. It's going to be a cold, deadly winter for millions of Americans because they didn't take the jab.
Yeah.
It's like he didn't know that. He was trying to get us to manifest that.
Yeah.
He was trying to get us to manifest sickness in ourselves. And that's the same thing he said recently. It's gonna be a cold winter with a lot of storms. They're not only trying to spray the storms into existence, they're trying to help them manifest it.
And if you guys ever watch, we made a channeling chemtrail video if you guys want to see it. But it's, you know, the chemtrails there's obviously multi-purpose. There's the breaking the vibe down. There's creating a thicker veil so people don't see beyond, you know, the matrix. There's, you know, creating a distraction so that people who are aware that there's chemtrails are like, oh man, there's chemtrails. Now their vibe is brought down, and they're not focusing on their light work and what they're here to do. So it's a multi-purpose thing. It's not just one thing, you know. So kind of keep that in mind.
Yeah, our linear 3D brains look for one thing,
yeah,
but they don't do anything without a multi-pronged purpose. Look at 9/11. That was a multi-pronged thing with a lot of plans going in behind that. So,
when we have many native spirits on the land, but there's one I talked to named Anna. And Anna was talking to me this morning because it's so super windy right now. I'm like, man, make the wind go away. And she's like, no, the sun and the wind work together, especially here. She says, because there's obviously stuff that shouldn't be here right now. So the wind needs to carry it away so the sun can purify the ground that's past the clouds, you know, what's here. So the sun has its job. She says the wind has its job. So if it's super windy right now, she's like, you just have to deal with it.
Be grateful.
She's like, we're trying to blow this away. So
yeah. Well, speaking of that, I think we're gonna get blown away if we don't head in soon. Your phone's wet. We gotta go. The snow, air quotes. We keep looking at the internet weather. They keep telling us it's going to snow in 40-degree weather. It's like, no, simple physics says that's impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. Anyway, we appreciate you tuning in, listening to us rant. You may not agree with everything we have to say, and if you don't, put it in the comments section.
Open discussion.
Open
you know,
discussion.
We're not like, you know, we don't know everything.
I don't know anything, if you ask me. Everything I know is a lie. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching again, and like, share, and subscribe. That's what you gotta do.
Bye, guys.
Bye.